Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I am a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe phase spheres, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today's topic is coming together with a couple of twins here that are in harmony, and I could not be more honored to share this background and this message and introduce to you my son BJ and his other half Shelby. And so I'm going to kind of give you guys a little background, and then I'm going to ask and share a little bit of their background and ask a few questions so they can share with you all like what it's like to be in harmony, because as we know, we all want that. And so I have to tell you, like, my awakening to their relationship, I was blindsided. So this has been leading up to probably like a year's worth of codes that finally clicked and was like, oh my gosh, I have a son that is a twin flame. And just going back to the background of my background, having him, and like, he's been through this whole dark night of the soul with me, so I know he understands a lot of my challenges and what I've went through. And one thing I will also tell you, having a son that's a twin flame, it totally makes sense now, the harmony that we've had his whole life. Like, we've been in sync with harmony the whole time, and I have to tell you, it is so easy, so much in flow. Just the relationship we have, including down to being in the same room and not even having to say a word, but yet feeling this synchronicity of just energy. And so I won't go into too much background about that with my relationship with him and how that's come about. But what I do want to just mention and say is, as far as the awakening of my awakening and discovering that they were twins, again, there was a whole year's worth of codes coming in. But this just recently happened because Shelby happened to be coming here this month of June and staying with me to do her internship, which I've been telling you, I've been on this 3-year cycle and 2-year cycle and 1-year cycle. Well, 3 years ago, BJ also stayed with me to do his internship. He's a pharmacist now, and Shelby was. They actually met in pharmacy school, was both being pharmacists, and then Shelby has switched into anesthesiology and assistant, and so she's continued her journey. But she happened to be here this month, and so it was just prior to her coming that I had this full awakening, and I actually was going to kind of save this information and share with them together this weekend. And I will say that, one of the things I want to say, like, not all of my family have read my book, but BJ has read a little bit of it. Shelby has read most of it. And with that being said, they don't know a ton about twin flames per se, other than what they've seen around me and then what's been coming through with Shelby being around me and getting some awakenings that came through just over this last month that she's been here too. But I wanted to say something about an aspect of where it comes to BJ. Our backgrounds are totally opposite as far as, I've been so spiritual and I've been so energetic. And of course, when I was young, like BJ, I was so black and white and analytical, and he comes from a very analytical, scientific brain and mind that says, I need to see tangible results. I need to understand this. But what I will tell you, in my twin flame journey, going to him as the only family member I've been able to go to, he has been patient and listened to everything I've told him about this journey. He's been very fascinated with it. He's been kind of awakening to, wow, I agree that that's kind of like, interesting that kind of synchronicity would show up, including down to me sharing some of the initial type things that's been going on with the final awakening I had with their journey, because he basically had a very long-term relationship with another person that ended up being more of his facilitator, and they ended up getting each other ready for like their twins basically, and through a 7-year period. And then with that, discovering that a combination of his some relations to some of his ex's things, as well as Shelby, and as well as my twin. There's like these codes that have came through that they all link with all the same information that's been like this, like right in front of us, like all having like the same connection to some different parts of their own, I won't say their personal information, but some of their personal information has been identical. And so it's been, for me, mind-blowing having been in front of me, because I've also like connected with about probably 5 to 7 other twin flame couples that have been in a combination of already merging and or already merged, that were like in my circle. And as I was going through all of this and writing the book, these people were coming to me, and it was all linking up, and it was all like an awakening for them as well at the same time, that they are twins already in union. Now, what I will say about that is that, you know, as we know, and I've been saying this for a long time, sometimes the more we know, like the harder it is, because we have more of the programming of the distrust, and we like know more about the push-pull, and we have more of the blocks of the subconscious programming, that it's hard for twins to come together. So I feel like that, you know, I've been saying lose the label, lose the identity. And I'm being shown by all these people around me that's been in my life for some of them years, that they're doing this, and they don't even know what they're doing, but it's happening. And then as that's happening, they're waking up to it and, you know, shifting through more release or more connection or more getting into purpose. So I just want to give you a little bit more background on that so you'd understand, because, you know, you've also heard me talk about that there's the 3 wave of twins. There's the first wave of twins, which is the ones that was been going out and with the machete and cutting down the trees and paving the path and retemplating some stuff. So then the second wavers are coming through, and they also have karma, but not quite as much. And then a lot of the third wavers are coming in. They're coming in really, even in a lot of star seeds, and very highly connected and very energetically connected in tune. And, you know, they're also just getting their wake ups, and they're actually, a lot of them are already coming into union as well. So now, all right, so I want to now like go into a little bit more of the connection with this weekend, and how, you know, these two harmonize, so we can get to the good stuff here, right? So basically this week was Shelby, you know, or actually the last couple weeks with Shelby. I was going to say this month actually, but this last couple weeks, when some things kept coming through for me that I was sharing with her, and she was really linking to that. And there was this twin flame video that had crossed my path, and I had not watched it yet, but I felt the urge to share it and to share it with Shelby. And whenever I did, she was like very drawn to it and felt this own awakening of her own, that had to do with her connecting to, like, wow, like that's like me and BJ. And I already had the awakening, and as soon as that went off, there was just this pull out of me to say, you know, this is what I've seen, and this is the connection, and you know these things, and this is my awakening I had, that was woken up to before you got here. So in that, what I'd like to do now is, I'd like, Shelby, if you would start and share a little bit of your background and some of the dark nights of the soul, because of your youth and your mom and all those things you went through. And then let's merge that into how you connected with VJ, and then we're going to hear from him too. So if you don't mind to share with my audience, that'd be awesome. I appreciate you guys being here too, because
well, when I was 7, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they gave her, well, it moved into her bones and then into her liver, and they gave her a couple months to live. So when I was 11, she passed away, and that was a hard time, and still is to this day for me. So
yeah. And so with that being said, that's a form of abandonment that we deal with, that she's had to go through with, that being abandoned at a young age and going through with the loss of your mom. I mean, you know, we think about having it hard as the first waivers, you know, and all the trauma we went through. Like, I can't even imagine being 11 years old and losing my mom. So that's very much a challenge. And that's, as we choose our parents, so we choose to learn those lessons when we come into this life. That's some of those lessons and some of the karmic clearing that twins do. So now I want to just share, if we can, a little bit about they also had a push-pull-purge kind of clearing between the two of them. Can you share how long you guys were together, and then like when that kind of took place, and then we'll talk about how some of the things that happened during that time frame as to what brought you back together as well.
I think it was maybe a couple years, and then we had some issues, and it was like 2 months that we were going through a hard time, and then it'll be 4.5 years this December total.
So you were together 2 years before you got your push-pull.
Maybe it was like 1.5 years. Yeah.
Before you kind of pulled apart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of the things I want to say about that, because I was kind of in with that, is that they were really good friends, and I'm gonna let VJ share how he felt about this, if he will. And I will say, like, he is a person that doesn't share very much of his emotions. So I want to thank you so much for coming here and sharing with my audience today. But basically, one of the key things I saw as the mom in this is that he was concerned about hurting her, and he had been in a relationship, and he wasn't sure he wanted to get into like another relationship or get into a deeper relationship again and get that serious, and so he wasn't sure about connecting, and so therefore Shelby was really connected. And so when he talked about that, I said, well, you need to be honest with her, because the last thing you need to do is hurt this person. And so then from there he shared some things with her, and then that's what really sent them into their separation. So VJ, can you share how you felt at that time, please?
I honestly don't remember. Kind of moved past it.
Okay, so it was very short-lived as far as, like, I know that you don't hold on. He doesn't hold on to anything, which is really, really good. He does. That's one of the things I will also say is he's like a very, very tender heart. And like, even though, he has a hard time, like I did when I was young, connecting to the thought and the concept scientifically to being connected that there's a God, so to speak. But in that aspect, I mean, he is so tenderhearted to everyone. And, when he was a kid growing up, all of his teachers would be like, like the teacher's pet kind of thing. And he could still do that, I think, with his bosses today, right? Be like the boss's pets, right? You always stand out wherever you go, and everybody loves you, right? You know that. So anyway, but he doesn't hold on to anything, and he's not very deep when it comes to emotionally attached. So Shelby, can you share, because we know you're much deeper, and we know we all are as a female. How do you link to that, knowing you're kind of on a deeper scale, and I know, but you guys they're also best friends, and they will say that. I'm going to talk about VJ saying that in a few minutes. But when you guys come back together, the first question I have for you, how did you manage that 2 months? Because I know it really tore you apart.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share that? Because I know, like, my audience go through this a lot, and they go through it for more than 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, we still talked every day because, like you said, he was my best friend, so there was never really a time where we didn't talk, but I just never, I guess, gave up the hope that we were going to be together again. So.
And I can see that, and that's one of the things, like, I could see that almost like, and I don't mean from like an ego way or like whatever, but it's like you fight for what you want,
mm-hmm.
kind of thing. You just don't give up. And with that, you watched that twin flame video the other day when we watched that, and it resonated, and you knew you guys had that connection. Can you share what it's like having that connection together?
I think I had told you the other day, it was just something that had like stuck with me, was that, DJ makes me a better person, and I feel like I am better because of him, and continue to be better every day because of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we challenge each other. She makes me a better person.
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy about it.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, with VJ, this is really, I don't even know if you know this, so this is gonna be really like a nice surprise for you. So BJ was looking at apartments a while back, and I will say he's very frugal, and he's trying to pay back student loans, and he's got dreams and all those things. And he's got his whole retirement mapped out till he's like all the way through on a spreadsheet and all of these things. I try to tell him, make sure to enjoy the journey, you know. But in that process, he was looking up some things, and he was talking about like weddings, and he said, you know, somebody said something about, are you getting married? It was one of my family members that were there that heard him talking about it, and he said, nobody, I think it'd be very cool to be married, especially when it's to your best friend. And so I just thought that was so sweet coming from him, because this is the child at 8 years old when we were looking to buy a new house, went to the backyard. It was this beautifully landscaped, thousands of dollars already in the backyard. And he's walking through the trail, and he's like, I can just see it now. I'm going to have my girlfriend back here, and I'm going to sprinkle rose petals and sit in this swing back here in a thong. True story, right? Like, this is coming from an 8-year-old twin flame that already had.
Not 8 at the time.
Well, how old were you?
Like 14 or 15.
Okay, well, see, even that's even better. That's even better. That's awesome. Like, he's very creative, it would sound like. Is he that creative in person?
No.
No? Well, BJ, tell us a little bit about the harmony in this relationship for you. I know you consider Shelby your best friend.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just always challenge each other to make yourself better, be a better person.
So personal growth,
Yeah.
and you guys feel that sync, right? Like
Yeah.
the synchronicity.
I mean, like I can get pretty reclusive and do things on my own and do things on my own time, but she gets me out, you know, and be sociable and do things like that, which is fun too.
So she harmonizes you then and gets you kind of out of your shell.
Yeah.
Like kind of like that's that contrast, because we are always talking about, you know, twins are contrast, and people can be contrast. You know, one have one side of something, the other have the other, but together you complement, you pull out those other sides with the weakness and the strengths together, you pull together and you create harmony within that. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. So what would you share with my audience, Shelby? I have a lot of people out there that's going through complete despair and so much pain, because what you guys mean, well, you might have felt this in that 2 months, and I know you've had to feel this with your mom. But when we go through this connection of the merger of twins and the souls literally linked together, and then they go into separation, it creates soul shock and it creates pain. And you feel that pain. So what advice would you give my audience, and them, you know, like having went through some of that and with your mom, to keep them going? What would you recommend they do to just not, like you mentioned, don't give up?
Mm-hmm.
Like what would you recommend to my audience?
I mean, I guess to not focus on that and focus on bettering yourself in the meantime. And because I mean, that's what I, like in that 2 months, tried to do, was just like, I didn't give up, but I also worked on bettering myself and focusing on myself, because I hadn't done that in a long time. So
in all reality, then he sent you back to you, which is what a twin does.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely cool. BJ, do you have anything you could share with my audience that, and like what I would say is because a lot of the divine masculine out there, people think that we're all these spiritual beings, and that you have to be in the spiritual, like, awakening, and like say one twin is awakened and the other one's not. And it's like, well, I can't have a twin unless they're awakened. But you're definitely a twin, and you beat your own drum, but you're not on this spiritual path. What would you share with my audience, and like your path and how you do that, and you know, just to share with them, because I want them to see in this that you don't have to be the spiritual guru to necessarily be on this path. So what would you share?
Find something that motivates you, makes you happy, and do what you want to do. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta make yourself happy. So find something. You don't necessarily have to think about what you need to do to be happy, but create your happiness. Do whatever you want to do. You know, you don't have to let society tell you what to do. You know, create your own happiness. It doesn't even have to be, you know, what people think should be happy. You know, it doesn't take much. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah, which is self-love, people. These two are describing self-love here because that's what self-love is doing what makes you happy. And, a lot of people in society thinks that that's being selfish, but it's not. It's taking care and it's filling up your own love bank so you have something to give somebody else. Right?
Yeah. I delete all my social media and I've never been happier.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't feel that, I don't care what somebody's having for dinner or where they're at in the world right now or what they're doing that makes them cooler than what you're doing. Just do your own thing. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, let me ask you this, VJ, because, as I mentioned, and as you know, like you've never been one to totally express emotions, and you've also in the past had issues with like being worried about people think or being social because, you've never been a super social person. But a lot of my audience are afraid to be themselves. And I know you've made a big flip in that with your transition of going to school and meeting people, of like-minded, great people, and now you're more outgoing. How do you feel like you managed that to go through that shift from being sort of more reclusive to coming out a little bit more expressive?
I wouldn't necessarily have to say I was always reclusive, but I can be just do my own thing. But I don't know. Going to school and seeing so many people have just an eclectic background of seeing many things and something that I've learned to enjoy is culture. Just take everything, and there's something that you can learn from everyone in this world. You don't have to look down on somebody. See what you can learn from them because there's something that everyone can give you that you can take.
Yeah, that's true. It's so funny because that's what I teach people. I'm always teaching people to, like, when somebody crosses your path, you've attracted them. And that's the mirror reflection of see yourself in that mirror. What can they teach you? And when you can do that in every experience, in every person, and everything around you, then you continue to go down your path. And that's what we're here to do. So, wow. All right. Awesome. Any final words? Anything else you guys would want to share?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I really want to thank you both for taking the time to be here because Shelby's has to go super early and has to do studies. And so this one's, got to go do Shanti workout now. And he gets insanity. He gets insane when he doesn't do his insanity, right? This one, I got to say, I just going to say one more thing. This would be my son. Like, I can't be more proud of you. I just can't be more proud of you. I really can't.
Thanks, Mom.
I'm serious.
Yeah, are you getting ready to cry?
I'm going to cry because I have to give you a hug. Now I got to tell you something. This child, no matter how old he has ever been, he's never been too proud to give me a kiss and tell me he loves me in front of everyone. All of his friends. Whenever I was getting a divorce and I stayed home basically took 4 years off of dating and that sort of thing to be there for him. And I devoted that 4 years to him. And in that 4 years, our house became where everybody landed, and we was so close and had such a great time. But by the time he was a senior, I told him, "You're getting a suitcase for your graduation present because it's my time now." And I said, didn't I?
Yeah. I haven't gotten $1 since.
That's because he makes a lot. All right. That's okay. All right. Thank you again. Very proud of both of you. Thank you, everyone that showed up to listen. And as you know, I come and share real, raw stories. And thank you so much for tuning in today. And make sure to like, comment, share the shine. May you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste. Woo!